Good morning, children. In previous class, we learnt about the land transport, means of land transport, in which we've learned roadways, railways, and pipelines. Now we will cover another domain, that is water. Now, waterways, as I told you earlier in classification also, there are two types: inland and seaways, sea routes. So inland, but it is not a very new idea or a system to travel from one place to another, because if you see the people used to travel even in the older times also, and they spread their culture and commerce. Even Indians used to travel so far off places through the sea, and waterways are the cheapest means of transport, because you don't have to construct the route is always already there. Only firstly there was only the boats or ships made up of wood, and the people used to transport goods and material from that very easily. So it is still one of the cheapest means of transport, and even the heavy and bulky goods can be carried through the water. That is why all the international trade between the countries take place through the water, because all the heavy, bulky, large amount, big, heavy goods, even cars, trucks, are transported from one country to another through the means of this water. And then it is fuel efficient, means it requires less of fuels as compared to the other means of transport, because most of the time the ships or the boats can run without any fuel, because of the current of the water, current of the oceans, or the slope of the land. They move, the engine can be switched off, and they can move easily without the taking any fuel. So that is why they are fuel efficient. And when you talk about the boat and all, they are also environment friendly, since they are not using fuel. The boats are not using fuel, and if they are using it in very small amount. That is why they are very environment friendly also. So inland navigation, when you travel through the water, it is called navigating. We don't call it travel. Inland, when you travel through water or air, it is called navigation. So because you abstract, because the things, the ocean waters or water, you don't know the routes. So that is why it is navigation. In air also this same thing happen. So traveling through the air is also called navigation. Now, inland navigation waterways which can be navigated in India, or of inland means what comes under land के अंदर हमें पानी का किस फॉर्म में मिलेगा, in the form of rivers. So rivers are generally used to transport material or passengers from one place to another, and the inland navigation is of 14,500 km in length. Means the rivers, though there are many big rivers in India, but the total length which can be navigated is 14,500 km, and only 3,700 km is navigable by mechanized boats. Means mechanized boats can run only till up to the distance of 3,700, cover the only area of 3,700 kilometer. Now inland navigation, the inland waterways are called national. There are some national waterways, as we have learned the national highways on land, roads mein we have learnt about the national highways. Now there are certain national waterways also. So the first national waterway is Ganga river, but only between Allahabad and Haldia, and it is of 1,620 km. Then next is river Brahmaputra, but only between Sadia and Dhubri. These are the two main big rivers, Indus and Brahmaputra. Indus is not considered here, because Indus is already a very that river goes to Ladakh and then to Pakistan, so it has not much significant to India's transport system. That is why only Ganga and Brahmaputra. So Allahabad and Haldia only, though Ganga river is 2,200 km long, but only how much distance? 1,620 is navigable. Similarly, Brahmaputra is also same distance, 2500 kilometer long or 2300 kilometer, but only 891 kilometer is only navigable by boats or mechanized boats. So this way, these are the two: national waterway number 1 and national waterway number 2. Now national waterway number 3 is the west coast canals in Kerala. Now Kerala has many the west coast, there are many canals in this Kerala, where the river water has spread in such a manner that it all the branches reaches to the sea. So right from the sea you can reach inland. Sea through you will come to the rivers, and rivers will make you reach far off land. So these are called backwater canals, and they are many in numbers. So all are navigable, means from right from inside the land you can come inside the ocean. So these canals were very helpful in this transportation of goods. So the canals are Kottapurma, Komam, Udyog Mandal, Champakara, and their total, if you add all the distances, it will come to only 205 kilometer. So this is national waterway number 3. So Ganga, only Allahabad and Haldia. This is Allahabad here and Haldia here. Allahabad and Haldia. So only this distance is navigable. Then similarly Brahmaputra, Assam, and this Assam में है, and it is only between Sadia and Dubri, very small distance it covers. Now the other inland waterways are all the rivers in India like Godavari, Krishna, Barak, Sundarban, Buckingham, Brahmani. These are all rivers or their tributaries which are equally navigable. Some are the other distances, some are part of them is navigable through navigable. So these are all the inland waterways, 3 national waterways: Ganga, Brahmaputra and West Coast canals, which are only in Kerala. Now the seaports. Now the major foreign trade, as I told, international trade, India is done through the sea. So that this long coastline of India has a big advantage here. See, the India's coastline start from here, and this is the long coastline that India has got, 7,516.6 kilometers. So this that is why India is having good foreign trade with all the parts of the countries of the continents. For this purpose we have to make the seaports, though as I told you there is no routes to be made in the waterways. So seaports are very important places, and because the goods are transported to the seaports which need to be carried to the other countries, so that is why seaports play a major role in this water transport. So the India has many seaports. The first is Kandla in Kutch. Kutch means Gujarat. This is Gujarat, and here you have Kandla. India has 12 major and 181 medium ports. So we will learn about the 12 major ports. So the 12 major ports are first is Kandla. This is Kandla. This is Kandla, and this is one of the it has been made to ease the volume of trade on Mumbai port. And we have lost Karachi also. So Karachi was the major port which lies here when Pakistan was part of India, and since after partition it went to Pakistan. So we have to make one seaport in this part that can cover the trade through to trade of northern India easily, because from North India, if you have industries here and you have to transport the goods, they have to cover a larger distances to come to the seaport. But so that is why Kandla and this Haldia and Kolkata, these two seaports have their major importance Because of these, they support the trade from northern part of India. So since we have lost one seaport, very important, Karachi, we have to make one more seaport here to support the goods to be transported from northern part. Like it is a whole agricultural area and food grains are transported to different countries. So that is why the Kandla was made. And then Mumbai was very busy seaport from the earlier times. So to decongest all these ports, this Kandla was also made. Now next is Jawaharlal Nehru. Mumbai is one of the busiest seaport of India. So you see one relevance of each of the ports. And the Kandla is a tidal port because this is the region of Gulf, and the Gulf receives the tides. So it is a tidal port. Tidal ports are always the places which receives the high tide are always preferred for making the seaport, because of the rise in the sea level. The ships can easily get inside the land. So this way it was a gulf and it is a tidal area. So that is why this place was chosen to make the seaport. And then Mumbai is the biggest port and the most spacious, natural, well sheltered, very old seaport of India. And then to decongest it, because it has become so much congested, another seaport, Jawaharlal Nehru, was made. And it is a hub port, means uska साथ में काम करता है along with Mumbai. So there are two seaports in Mumbai. One is this Mumbai itself, and the next is Jawaharlal Nehru. The next two ports, Marmugao and New Mangalore. Marmugao and New Mangalore are especially made to transport minerals from this part, especially the iron ore. Karnataka is a big region of iron ore. India में सबसे ज़्यादा iron ore के region है तो कर्नाटका में. So just to and there are India has a big reserves of iron ore. So to transport, because many countries buy iron ore from India, India exports iron ore to many countries. So for the ease of transportation, these two seaports are made. Marmugao in Goa. Goa itself is a big region of iron ore. In Goa में खुद भी बहुत सारा iron ore के reserves हैं. And then Karnataka. So Marmugao in Goa and New Mangalore in Karnataka. These two seaports are especially made to transport iron ore concentrates. And the Kudremukh mines, there are Kudremukh mines in Karnataka. So these very big mines, and the lot of iron ore is exported to other countries. Now the last port on the west coast is Kochi. This is west coast and this is east coast. So Kochi is the last port here. This is called the extreme southwestern seaport of India is Kochi. So Kochi is again important port, and it lies on the entrance of a lagoon. Lagoon means natural harbor. It becomes because lagoons are formed by the sea waves. It's a feature that is formed by the sea waves. So it forms a natural harbor. So lagoons are also very suitable place for building the seaports. So Kochi is again a lagoon. It is situated on the entrance of the lagoon. Now next is we move to the east coast. Now see the east coast. On the eastern coast we have the first seaport, which is the Kolkata. So Kolkata and Haldia. See, Kolkata and Haldia. These are the two seaports. Kolkata is again a very big seaport, one of the oldest seaport, and just to decongest it, because some goods have to be carried to from this part of the country, and some countries lie on the eastern part of the our country, and some lie on the west. So the seaport should be on the east coast also and the west coast also. Sorry. So this way the seaports are built, and they are Kolkata is the busiest port, and decongested Haldia, very near to Kolkata. Another seaport, like we have Mumbai and Jawaharlal Nehru, we have the Kolkata and Haldia too. Now next is again Paradeep and Vishakhapatnam. These two seaports are again made to transport iron ore, like we have Marmagaon and New Bangalore, which you have learned. This Paradeep and Vishakhapatnam are again made because again a big reserve of iron ore is found in this whole region, and there are many countries like Japan, China, they all import iron ore from India. So these seaports are specially made for the ease of this transportation of iron ore, and they only transport iron ore only. Now the next is Chennai. See, Chennai is the is Chennai. Acha, okay, Tuticorin, and then you started Chennai. Yes. It is natural harbor, thus it is flourishing in Maldives. Chennai is one of the oldest artificial ports, one of the oldest, made in the British time, and just equal in terms of rank next to Mumbai in the terms of trade and cargo. The cargo, the goods that it handles, the trade which is done, in that it is second to Mumbai. Then, as I told, Vishakhapatnam and Paradeep, they are the two ports which are especially made to transport, import and export iron, not import, export iron ore from India. Last is here Kolkata. It's an inland riverine port. Now, what are riverine ports? As you see, it is situated on the mouth of river Hooghly. As you this Hooghly river is coming, Hooghly is the distributary of river Ganga, and this is situated on the mouth here, Kolkata. So it can carry the goods inland. Once the goods are coming through ocean, and from ocean the river, it can be carried to the inner part of the country. So these riverine ports are also very good situation for building the seaport. So Kolkata is one of the riverine ports, inland riverine port. It is situated on the mouth of the river Hooghly. So this is again this tidal port hai, because it lies on the delta. Sundarban delta also lies here, and so this is again huge number of tides occur in this region. So it's a constant dredging, means it gets dirty by the silt that the tides accumulate silt, large amount of silt in this area, so it needs to be cleaned every time because of this. And then Haldia has been made to decongest Kolkata. So these are the 6 seaports on the west coast and 6 on the east coast. So each has its own uniqueness, one of the features. Like Kandla is made to decongest this Mumbai port, and also it supports the transport from northern part of India. It has been made to to substitute the Karachi seaport, which has gone to Pakistan after partition. Then Mumbai is one of the artificial ports. It has been specially built so that the trade can be done from India in the British time, and it is one of the busiest seaport of India. And to decongest means बहुत congested हो रहा है, तो next port बनाया गया है जवाहरलाल नेहरू. Now Marmagaon and New Bangalore are specially made to export iron ore from India. So these seaports are made because nearby there is a huge reserves of iron ore found. Then Kochi is lying at the entrance of the lagoon. Then you have Tuticorin we have left. Tuticorin is the extreme southeastern seaport. Southeastern seaport, like Kochi is the southwestern port, extreme southwestern port. Similarly, Tuticorin is the southeastern port. And this is a natural harbor and rich hinterland. Hinterland means पीछे का area. So that lies with the agricultural area. Very big agricultural area of South India lies behind this seaport. So the Sri Lanka, Maldives, and these are very much connected to the this Tuticorin seaport, very near to the Tuticorin seaport. So इनसे जो भी handling trade होता है between these two three countries, that takes place from Tuticorin. So Tuticorin is the Kochi is the extreme southwestern port, and Tuticorin is the southeastern seaport. Now Chennai is one of the oldest again seaport of India, and it carries a lot of trade is handled by Chennai. And then Vishakhapatnam and Paradeep, these are again built to export iron ore, again because iron ore is a very heavy bulky material. So a seaport need to be built very near to the reserves, otherwise it cannot be carried by any other means of transport. So it is also exported from India to many countries of the world. That is why these seaports are built. So Paradeep, Vishakhapatnam, Marmagaon, New Mangalore, these are the seaport. Learn the names, these questions are asked. And these 4 ports are especially made to transport iron ore. Then you have the Kolkata, which is a riverine port. Its uniqueness lies that it lies on the mouth of the river Hooghly, and so it is a good seaport. It is considered good location, because it can carry the goods forward further inside the land through. Once you are bringing the ships, then the goods can be carried inside the land also through the rivers. So these are the 6 major seaports on the west and 6 major seaports on the east coast. 12 major seaports of India. So now you have the airways. Then the next domain, which is used for transporting, for traveling, is the transportation and traveling is airways. Now it is one of the fastest and the most comfortable and even prestigious also. Traveling with the airways is still considered very prestigious class within itself. So it's very comfortable because it takes very less time to cover long distances, and it can cover any terrain. If you have to cross Everest, you have to cross deserts, you have to cross forests, and even the long oceanic stretches, it is only and only possible by the means of airways. So though you can travel through oceans, you can cross through ships, but it takes too much time to cover the distance. But again, the ships cannot be used to cross the mountains, deserts. So the airways can cover all these things together. So that is why its importance lies here, though it is not the cheapest one, and but because the fuel it takes fly is very costly, makes the journey very costly. A lot of fuel is used to fly the planes. And then the big rivers, the dissected relief, and even in the time of emergency, if there is some kind of disaster, the only thing which is going to help the people is the airways. So its importance lies here also. It can cross any desert or land, any kind of land or ocean. That is one thing. And it is also in the times of emergency. Also, the people prefer the health services to the people can be provided through the airways. So that is why there are floods, and especially taking care of the international frontiers, and so earthquakes when they come and the people have to be rescued, tsunamis. You have seen how the airways are being helpful in rescuing the people. Now in India, it was nationalized, means sarkari, in 1953 after the independence, and there are three names by which you can see: Indian Airlines, Alliance Air, and Air India. These are the three air services provided. Indian Airlines, Alliance Air, this is the one. This is first. This is second, and the third is Pawan Hans Helicopters Limited. So first is Indian Airlines, and if you are traveling on a domestic airways within a country, if you are traveling, you will be using Indian Airlines. Like you are traveling from Delhi to Chennai, Delhi to Bangalore, Kanpur to Bangalore, Kanpur to Delhi. Then, which if you are traveling through nationalized airlines, it will, on the planes you will find written Indian Airlines. Like you say, if you choose private airlines, they will write Jet Airlines, Air Asia, Indigo. Similarly, if it is a nationalized airlines, if you booked your ticket, you will find that the airplane, the name will be written as Indian Airlines. The port used is only one, airport is only one, so all the airlines use the same airport. So that is why they have to mention their names on the aeroplanes. Now next is if you are traveling internationally, means if you are traveling from one country to another, then you will be using Air India. Then the planes you will find the name written as Air India. So it is international airline. Air India is international and Indian Airlines is domestic airlines. And the Pawan Hans helicopters provide special, these are the helicopter services, nationalized helicopter services provided to the, especially to the ONGC, Oil and Natural Gas Commission, offshore operations. There are many operations of ONGC, oil and natural gas, has been extracted from offshores, like inside the ocean. There are many areas. So the helicopters carry the employees to these offshore locations, offshore stations, and then they carry again them back to their home by these helicopters, Pawan Hans Helicopters Limited. So this way we have and they also provide northeastern states and interior parts of very difficult terrain where roads cannot be built. They are being used as a regular, like we use Tempo and this Vikram and all, they auto kar lete hai ye wo ऐसे वहाँ पे, because the population is very less and the roads are not found, so these helicopters are run, and the people can come from one place to another, travel from one place to another. So this way this Pawan Hans helicopter provides services in the mountainous states, especially in the northeastern states, and where the roads are very less in number and also the population, so they can help. Pawan Hans helicopters are sufficient over there. And the next is they help in oil and natural commissions offshore operations. So this way we have covered all the domains, the land, water and air. So air travel has only one disadvantage, that it is not within the reach of common people, means it's costly. That is why the common people cannot afford to have this travel. But these northeastern states is very cheap, because these helicopter services, Pawan Hans helicopters, are run like the regular transport system we use in our cities. So it is within the reach of the common people also. Otherwise, for rest of the country, it is one of the means not so affordable and money wise, so it is less in use. Otherwise it is the best means of transport. Thank you.